All right, guys. So today we're doing positive zero exponents and negative exponents. So what happens if the exponents on the top and bottom are the same? Well, yesterday we subtracted exponents and then put the answer where the biggest exponent was, but now the exponents are the same. But if I do 7 minus 7, I end up with x to the 0. Now, you should know if I divide something by itself, like x to the 7th divided by x to the 7th, it always equals 1. And there's our actual rule, x to the 0 equals 1. So anything raised to the 0 power equals 1. It's going to make a lot of problems a lot easier. Let's look at the next part. Negative exponents. A negative exponent basically puts the number and its exponent in the wrong spot of a fraction. Like a to the negative n is the numerator, but the negative n tells me it's in the wrong spot, so I move it down to the denominator. Same thing backwards. 1 over a to the negative n. I have a negative exponent in the denominator, so I moved it up to the numerator. But once we move our negative exponents, they turn positive. This does not work with just negative numbers, only negative exponents. So let's do a couple of examples. The directions say write your answers using only positive exponents. So we don't want exponents that are 0 or negative in our answers. Let's look at number 1. X to the 0 over y to the 7th. Well, anything to the 0 is 1, and y to the 7th stays the same. So 1 over y to the 7th. I have x to the negative 5. Now, really, that's x to the negative 5 over 1. And remember, negative exponents mean it's in the wrong spot, so I need to move it to the denominator. So when I move it, I'm left with 1 on top. And then when I move x to the negative 5 to the bottom, I put x to the 5th. There's our answer there, 1 over x to the 5th. Now, number 3, 10x to the 7th divided by 5x to the 11th, all that raised to the 0 power. Now, if you remember, just a second ago, we said anything raised to the 0 power is 1. Even if it's a really complex series of equations and division, it's raised to the 0 power. The answer is 1. Now, you have to remember a couple of things here. We're really multiplying. So I can go ahead and fix some of these things, but I have to remember to multiply things at the end. I have 4 times y to the 0. Well, anything to the 0 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. And then the bottom, nothing's going to change. I have 16 x cubed. Now, there are no more x's, so the x cubed's not going to change, but I can fix 4 over 16. That's 1 over 4 x cubed. And there's your answer. So just remember, guys, anything to the 0 equals 1. Anything that's a negative exponent moves to the other side. Let's look at 5 and 6. Now, the first thing I want to do in number 5 is look and see that I have some negative exponents. I've got a negative 1 and a negative 2. So I'm going to go ahead and move those things before I work it. Now, the negative 1's attached to this 3, so I want to move that to the bottom. The negative 2 is only attached to the x. I'm going to move it to the top. So first, let's write what's still on the top, which is x to the 5th. And I'm going to multiply that by x squared, because I moved x to the negative 2 to the numerator. On the bottom, I still have 2, but now I have to move 3 to the negative 1 down there, which is times 3 to the positive 1. Now, there is some multiplication to do here. X to the 5th times x squared. We add exponents. You get x to the 7th. 2 times 3 to the 1st is just 2 times 3, which is 6. X to the 7th over 6. Now, number 6 is really just a trick. I'm raising it to the negative 1. So what I do if I have a fraction inside is I flip both of these. So instead of 3a squared over 6a to the 5th, I have 6a to the 5th over 2a squared. And all that now is to the positive 1, which doesn't change anything. Now I can fix this. I have 6 over 2, and I have a to the 5th over a squared. Now, 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. I have a to the 5th over a squared. The top one is bigger, so that's where the answer will go. And a to the 5th over a squared is 5 minus 2. I get 2a to the 3rd. Let's go to the back page. Now, this one's a little different. I can't just start moving things because the main exponent is outside and it's positive. So first, I have to cube everything. I'm going to have 2 cubed. I have x to the 1st, but I'm raising it to the 3rd, so I multiply exponents. I have y to the negative 5th, and again, I'm raising it, so I multiply it by 3. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 gives me 8. X to the 1 times 3 is x cubed. Y to the negative 5 times 3 is y to the negative 15. Now I'm going to put this over 1 to remember technically is a fraction, and I have a negative exponent that I'm going to move to the denominator. So 8x to the 3rd stays in the numerator, and I move y to the 15th to the denominator. Let's do the last problem. I have 2x to the negative 2, y to the 5th, negative 4x squared, y squared is the denominator. Now, this negative 2 is attached to everything in those parentheses, so I'm going to need to move that to the bottom. So I still have y to the 5th on top, and I'm going to move 2x in parentheses squared, and I'm going to need to multiply that by what's in the denominator, negative 4x squared, y squared. Now I can clean this up. I have y to the 5th over 2x squared is 4x squared times negative 4x squared y squared. Now the y to the 5th is still there, but I can fix the denominator. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. And then I have 1 times y squared, leaves me y squared. Now we're not finished yet. I have y to the 5th and y squared on opposite sides, so I still have the negative 16x to the 4th in the denominator. The numerator has the bigger exponent, and I do 5 minus 2 gives me y to the 3rd. So guys, if you'll practice this, it gets easier and easier. Your homework has 21 problems. I've had a lot of people get it done in class if you'll just sit and work on it. So good luck.